Welcome to the Cryptonomatron. Thanks for joining me. In this video, we'll be doing a review of the Pavo ICO. But if this is your first time here and you want to know more about ICOs, blockchain, Bitcoin, crypto in general, then click on that subscribe button and click on that bell notification icon and you'll get notified as soon as I upload new content and as soon as I go live. Thanks for doing that. Let's get on with the review video. So what is Pavo? Well, it is an ICO that's currently running at the pre-sale, public pre-sale stage. It is an Internet of Things blockchain for AgTech. Now, AgTech is agriculture technologies you might not be familiar with. We're usually talking about fintech on this channel, but AgTech is equally as important. We need to feed the world, population's growing, so technology is going to have to play a big major part in that. And this company wants to use the blockchain, use Internet of Things, use hardware devices to monitor the soil, monitor luminosity, and other factors that obviously affect crop growing. So we'll see how they're going to do that. But first of all, let's take a little look at the competition. So as Pavo is focused on Internet of Things and agricultural technology, they don't really have any direct competition. However, if you do read the white paper and the rest of the material, it does say they're focused on the cannabis industry in particular, and that's where the competition comes in. There are a few cannabis coins, you're probably aware. I did a video yesterday on the top 5 to watch in 2018. I didn't include Pavo simply because I hadn't reviewed it yet, and this video covers it quite adequately, I hope. So there are some competition in terms of cannabis coins, but they are not strictly doing the same thing. There's a few like Hempcoin and Potcoin that are dedicated to providing banking services for the cannabis industry. It's a typically difficult industry to get financial services for. And then there are others like Budbo and Toke's platform that are focused on the supply chain management, so all the way from sort of seed to sale. Paragon Coin's another one. As I said, I covered these in that video. You should go and have a watch of that if you're more interested, and I did that video as a sort of primer to this review as well. So yeah, they are cannabis coins. They aren't really in competition with each other either. There are a few that are focused on supply chain management, and then there's others that, like I said, are acting as cryptocurrencies for dispensaries and cultivators because they can't get financial services from the traditional methods like banks. So yeah, there are competitors, but they're not really in direct competition. So the main problem is basic demand for food. There are cities in the world that are facing water shortages and population is growing exponentially, especially in Asia and China and India in particular. We are seeing population explosions that cannot be sustained on this planet as things stand. So there's only two solutions. One is a technological solution, which this particular ICO may offer, or a population solution, population control. China tried it with the one family, one child policy, and it hasn't been successful, and that policy's been scrapped anyway now. So how do we feed our population? That's the question. And at current population growth levels and current food production levels, it's not sustainable into the future. So the first problem is decreasing prices of cannabis, even in states where they've legalized it for recreational use, such as Colorado. Prices have fallen by 70% since 2014, and prices continuing to drop quite steadily over the last half year. So they want to provide a solution to sustain prices, because dropping prices means you can't compete with rising costs as well. So utility costs for cultivation are actually increasing. Again, artificial lights used for growing cannabis in the main, so higher electricity prices, rising costs of equipment, they are not going to be sustained by falling prices for your actual product. The other issues are obviously yield and quality. Growers are striving to produce high yield and high quality crops, of course, but there's more competition than ever now, so a lot of growers are failing in this regard. The other issue, growing space as well. Indoor growers in particularly, they are struggling to secure and maintain long-term leases for spaces. Landlords tend to be, you know, a little bit hesitant to give lease space to cannabis production. There's obviously a stigma about the industry, maybe a lack of trust, as mentioned in the white paper here, from cannabis cultivators. And then the other issues, of course, federal prohibition as well. So industry participants always have that worry about federal problems. It's still illegal in the US at a federal level, even if it's been decriminalised in some states, legalised in others, even for recreational use. So the problems continue. Regulatory oversight is another one. When you legalise a product that's traditionally been illegal for such a long time, you get a raft of new regulations and legislation at multiple levels in government, especially in the US, where you've got state level and federal level as well. And again, it's hard to comply for the little guy, isn't it? You know, you've got to jump through all these hoops. The other problem is the supply chain. Again, we saw there are already a few ICOs that have launched and a few cryptocurrencies projects that have launched that want to tackle supply chain management in the cannabis industry. Now, the other issue is product differentiation and branding as well. So, you know, there's going to be a sort of fight to stress quality, purity, and basically make their own brand for their own cannabinoid products. The other issue is environmental issues, electricity consumption, increased emissions, and so on and so forth. And then another issue is, the final issue here is lab testing. You need to go to a lab. It costs thousands of dollars to actually get your lab test done, and again that adds to the whole cost of cultivation. So growers understand that they need to have the lab test certificate for selling through dispensaries as well. So it's it's a very expensive industry to do properly. And if you have, I guess, if you have an Internet of Things device monitoring your growth all the time, then perhaps that lab test certification might be a little bit easier to achieve, or even perhaps not necessary. You might get granted it automatically if you can prove certain parameters for your crops. So the aims of Pavo are to introduce this Internet of Things software platform for the ag-tech industry, and it's going to be on the blockchain, which is going to ensure transparency from the seed through to the sale and even at consumption. So, you know, they're wanting a solution from everything, but with a particular focus on the actual cultivation as well, and the monitoring of that through a device that can give you the information you need so your crop yield will increase. There are two main components for the project: the fee-based hardware and software platform for the growers, and we'll take a little bit look at that in the tech section a bit later on, and also the cryptocurrency, or the token, for the entire agriculture ecosystem. Again, that will include all the different people in the supply chain, including the growers, wholesalers, manufacturers and suppliers, and that will allow payments to be facilitated between each party, which again is another problem in itself that we didn't mention, and that is access to financial services for the cannabis industry is not usually that easy, and that's why you've had all these cryptocurrencies springing up since 2014, such as Potcoin, Hempcoin and the likes as well. So where do I see the market of this particular product? Well, I see it bigger than just the cannabis industry, to be honest with you. I see it being a global market to any crop cultivation and supply chain management solution. So it could grow much, much bigger than the multi-billion-dollar cannabis cultivation industry. And again, you know, cannabis is quite a young industry at the moment, so there's a growth potential there alone. But this could apply to fruit and vegetable growers, any farmers that are looking to increase their yield, really. So as far as the cannabis industry is concerned alone in the United States, there are an incredible number of dispensaries now, 4,700, 1,300 infused product manufacturers, 100 testing laboratories. We mentioned earlier how expensive it is to actually get lab testing, and 4,500 wholesale cannabis growers in the US alone. So it's a massive market, but it's still quite fragmented. And I think cryptocurrency is an ideal match. Blockchain ensures a little bit more trust and transparency, as we know, but also you know, the Internet of Things side is quite interesting, because that could give cultivators the AgTech side of things a little boost, and also, you know, give higher yields, which means more profits, and everybody likes profits, don't they? So this is a good article from about a year ago, and it's basing its facts on the stats from 2016 in the US and Canada. Now, illegal sales topped $46.4 billion in 2016. Of course, that gives a massive potential for future growth in you know, what's traditionally an illegal market. And if we look down now, more facts here, more figures. The illegal market was only 6.9 billion US. So there's a massive untapped potential there for growth. So the benefits of using the blockchain are apparent, and they're listed in the white paper here. Obviously, if you've got this immutable decentralized ledger of all the crop data from the seeding to the retail arena, then you've got all the information you need to ensure that your product is what it says it is, where it comes from, whether or not it complies with standards and regulations, and you know, it basically changes what is traditionally quite a murky industry to a fairly trustworthy one as well. You've also got the implementation of a tokenized ecosystem, which means the parties that are dealing with the ecosystem, farmers, for example, retailers, can you know, avoid dealing in cash, and that solves some of the issues with the access to banking and finance facilities. So I did see this in the roadmap. They are going to implement the platform with Hyperledger Beta. So not only are they going to have the Ethereum smart contracts for the token sale, they will be actually utilizing Hyperledger, which, as you know, is a permission chain and will allow them to keep certain information private from certain parties as well. So the hardware device can only sensor the soil and the CO2 at the moment, but they're going to implement more sensors in the future, including luminosity, contaminants, water quality, etc. Now the platform basically deals with all of this. It takes all the information, gives you a dashboard, user interface that you can interact with and monitor everything that you need to see. The demo of the platform is above there, the link's there. They're using it already in a couple of California grow houses for cannabis, and also in an almond farm. I think the almond farm's in Turkey. There are quite a few videos on their YouTube channel. I urge you, if you're interested in this project, go and watch them all. It gives you a little bit more insight than I'm able to provide on this review video. But suffice to say, they do have a working product of sorts that's currently being worked on at the moment. Blockchain not yet implemented, of course, but will be in the future. And yeah, the platform looks pretty good. However, they do have some competition. We did talk about them earlier, like Budbo and Paragon Coin being the two main ones that spring to mind. So we can see here the layout of the Pavo platform. It's pretty simple, really. You have the software on the right hand side, the Pavo software that we will be interacting with, and that they've got in the demo. Then it will be connected to the blockchain as well. Files will be stored in the IPFS system, and then you've got the different IoT components as well that will pass information to and from the hardware devices and the sensors. So you've got the trigger, which will basically actuate the controls to allow for more water, for example, more temperature, whatever the plants need to be at the optimum growth parameters. And you've got the sensors obviously picking up all the different you know, soil contaminants, luminance, everything like that. And you also have the soil and water and energy controlled as well. So it's all going to be automated. You will have artificial intelligence that will assist with this process, that will optimize the system, and therefore you would expect the yields to be much improved. So they are going to utilize machine learning, and that will be applied to the analytics solutions, and a predictive solution as well that will turn the data that they're receiving into something that's actually actionable and usable. And those actionable insights, you know, they can include predictive models, including crop identification, the grow score, crop quality recommendations, etc., etc. And there's so much scope for this that you know, it really is a data-driven industry, the cannabis industry. And I think having this machine learning is really going to improve the ability for growers to take advantage of utilizing the blockchain, utilizing these solutions, the hardware solution, utilizing a lot of these different technological advances that we're seeing. And this is going to lead to higher yields, less wastage, less environmental contaminants, and many other beneficial factors. So the Pavo token use, first one is to pay the software as a service subscription and other fees associated with that. I believe the fees are around $10,000 deposit and $2,000 a month for a basic package. Now that sounds quite expensive, but indeed actually quite economical according to their studies. So you will get a discount if you use the Pavo token, but you can pay by other methods, debit card, etc. It will be the only payment method accepted to execute transactions and settlements and forward contracts between participants on the ecosystem, the growers, the buyers, and other parties. It will also be used for voting for incentives distribution and also on platform policy, e.g. community engagement, etc. It will be the only payment method accepted for the marketing and advertising services on the platform. It will be used for voting, for conflict resolution on the platform, a form of bounty, community support, and also a loyalty program. I guess that's to incentivize people to use the platform. And of course, after the ICO, it will be tradable on external exchanges. And it does have actual future uses, which may include paying for electricity, possibly equipment as well, and grow space to landlords. So I'm happy to report that this project doesn't have any scam warnings or red flags surrounding it. They are a legitimate project. They're registered as PAVOCOIN AG in Zug in Switzerland, and they're also registered in the USA as well, San Francisco, California, hence the connection to the grow houses there. But also they have a no scam label from ICO Box. They are a cryptocurrency expert team who are providing assistance behind this project, partnered with this project for regulatory compliance, assisting them in launching the ICO and some other services as well. So absolutely no question over the legitimacy of the project and the team. So the total supply of tokens is 200 million. 100 million of those, or 50%, is allocated to the pre-sale and the ICO. 30 million to the team partners and advisors. That's subject to a lockup. There will be 40 million going to a controlled reserve fund, 20 million to the community reserve, and a further 5 million apiece to the ICO incentives and bounty, and also the growers reserve. Any unsold tokens at the ICO will be burned. So we're at pre-sale phase 2 at the moment, I think. Phase 1 was over with the highest bonus at 45% if you invested more than $10,000. And the current bonus is 33% if you invest more than $5,000, and there is a minimum requirement of $5,000. The ICO proper, the main sale, will kick off on the 12th of June and run until the 16th of June with a 25% bonus, and then decreasing to no bonus, and finally ending up on the 7th of July, if indeed they haven't actually sold out by then. Pavo are running a bounty campaign. Details are posted in the bitcoin.org forum thread. You can find the link below in the description as usual. Again, terms and conditions apply. Make sure to read them carefully. But they are allocating a very generous 3 million PAV tokens. That's 1.5% of all the supply to this particular bounty campaign. 15% for the Telegram campaign. 40% for a social media campaign, which covers Twitter, Facebook, Medium. Signature campaign on this forum will be 20%, and then there is a 15% allocation for blog articles, reviews, videos, etc. Then 10% will be held in reserve. So I'll probably end up submitting this for a bounty as well. And as usual, rules to follow depending on whatever campaign you are going to participate in. It's running till the end of the ICO on the 14th of July. You've got plenty of time if you want to still get involved. So let's look at the roadmap. They have been working on the application since Q2 2017. Last year, they deployed the proof of concept with the sensors and created the initial data baseline. This year, we've seen them deploy the Pavo Internet of Things gateway as well in a couple of grow houses, the first gen of this gateway. And now we're in Q2 2018. They're launching the PAVOCOIN at ICO and also the ERC20 smart contracts. By Q3 this year, they'll start integrating the platform with Hyperledger Beta, the blockchain that they've elected to use. By the end of the year, they'll have the Internet of Things Gateway version, or Gen 2, ready. Then they will launch Pavo platform with Hyperledger in about Q1 2019. So not that long to wait, just under a year before the platform is launched properly. And then that will follow with a launch of the Pavo marketplace, and also followed by the Internet of Things 2.0, the Gateway Gen 3, and the self-provisioning sensors as well. So let's look at the team first of all. Alan Young's the co-founder and vice chairman. Erhan Kakmak is the CEO and co-founder. So let's look at Alan. Well, he looks like a venture capitalist. He has founded Runway, right, a major startup incubator and support firm in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. What about Erhan? Right, he's got a leadership background in general management, sales and marketing. That figures okay. Most recently, he led as a COO international expansion for San Jose-based IoT software company N3N. Right, so he's been working with Internet of Things before, so that's pretty good. I like to see that. What about Ari Gorman? He's the CTO. He's got experience in telecommunications and has held CTO and leadership positions at tech companies. Worked for Novotel, I think. Yep, okay, that's interesting. Novotel Networks. Dave Daba, he's marketing, operations, and business executive for over 15 years. Dave has helped more than 10 Silicon Valley companies establish, position, and grow their brands. Okay, he's grown several startups, including Email Labs, Lyris, FFox, and SoundCloud. I haven't heard of any of those. Sorry, Dave. Atakan, again. Fintech experience, but no blockchain experience. David's worked at Alcatel, Cisco Systems, Bell Canada. It's quite impressive. From California, Berkeley University. Bazir, he has led the senior technical worldwide support at Siemens Munich. BS in computer science from San Jose State University. Interesting. So they're all experienced in their own fields. We've got some entrepreneurial experience there. We've got some Internet of Things experience as well, which again will be integral to the implementation of this project, but we don't appear to have any blockchain specific experience or any devs. And we have Mike Booker at the bottom, won't forget him. He is a grower, cannabis grower, okay, been involved in growing cannabis, cultivating cannabis for over 10 years. That's good, and of course that also adds some value to the team as well, because you need that sort of experience as well if you're going to focus on the cannabis industry. Quick look at the advisors now. The first guy that stands out to me is this guy Jeff, co-founder of Electronic Arts, Cardsmith, licensed to mail. He's also strategic advisor at BitDegree as well. He went to Berkeley, I think, over 35 years of entrepreneurial experience in Silicon Valley and Europe. So he's pretty much an all-star on this team as far as I would be concerned. I don't really want to troll through all of the advisors, but another guy who's quite important, and he's on some of the videos as well on the YouTube channel, is Keith Tier. He's executive chairman and chair of the investment committee at Accelerated Digital Ventures. They're a UK venture company. Previously was a founder and partner at Archimedes Labs in Palo Alto in California. Two of Keith's companies were unicorns, valued by others at more than $1 billion. So very, very impressive. They have a lot of advisors on this project already, all of them lending some expertise in some way or another, including some of the partners, the ICO Box partners. They're providing some advisory services to this project as well. So I already mentioned ICO Box as a partner. Some of their guys are on the advisory board for this project. ICO Box assists with launching ICOs, and they're the experts in that field. They've also given a no scam label to this project as well. ensuring that it's legitimate, so no need to worry about that. Kryptonite, I couldn't find much information about Kryptonite other than it's a browser add-on for Chrome, which I'm actually using, made by Metadata. And I don't know if that's the correct one because the logos are different, so I couldn't find any other information. It would be nice to be provided with links on the homepage as well, so I can just go straight to whatever partner I want to look at. Siddeman and Bancroft, Balder Weiss and Paul Hastings are legal firms as well. Weed Club, I'm not sure what that is. Runway, I couldn't find any information on them all. And Crypto Valley are a association of different cryptocurrency businesses based in Switzerland. So partnerships, you know, obviously with a heavy lean towards the regulatory and legal compliance side of things. So they've been featured quite a bit in the media. They're also active on social media. The YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, is quite a good resource to find out exactly what the project's all about and look at the demo. They're on Steemit, Medium, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and they have Telegram channels for their English and Russian-speaking audience as well. On the Russian-speaking Pavo channel on Telegram, they have 2,528 members. They have 3,782 members on the English-speaking Telegram, and they're building support on Twitter as well with 2,342 followers, and they have constant updates. As you can see, the last one was around 16 hours ago, so they are keeping active and engaging with the community. Hopefully, we've got still quite a bit to go before the ICO kicks off. They can build a level of hype behind this project. Okay, verdict time now, guys, and I can relax a little bit. I've been through all the material, and now I'm going to go through the positives. So the first one is obviously they've got a working product. It's on trial in grow houses in California and also on a farm in Turkey. I believe it is an almond farm, I think. So they've already got it working. They've already got the demo on the YouTube page as well. It looks very good. They've got a working product. All they need now is to implement the blockchain technology. This could be potentially a large market for them. Not only cannabis, as I mentioned before in the market section, this could actually apply to any cultivation of crops, supply chain, management of any perishable goods. So, you know, this could be a really, really large potential market. And I noticed they haven't really branded as a cannabis coin, although they are focusing on the cannabis industry. You know, Pavo could easily apply to fruits and vegetables or something else. Doesn't have to specifically apply to cannabis. But cannabis alone is a large market, and as regulatory you know, requirements change, as it gets decriminalized, as more countries and states legalize it, then that market just grows. So it is a growing market as well. Number three, this solves real pain points within the cannabis industry, in, you know, the supply chain, in banking facilities not being available, and so on and so forth. Number four, this has a pretty strong advisory body behind it. You know, I went through it very briefly in the team section, but yeah, the advisory body here is extensive and it's pretty strong too, and that'll help this project to strive for success, and also in the implementation side as well. Number five, another important concern here is that this platform ensures regulatory compliance, and that is going to be all important for cryptocurrency involved with cannabis in the future. Number six, I also like the fact that the team has experience in both cultivation of cannabis and Internet of Things technology as well. And of course, those are the two main focuses of this particular project. And you know, without that experience, this project could not succeed. Number seven, we've not got long to wait before the product launch. That's going to happen in Q1 2019. So that might, and if we get a bullish trend this year, might mean this could just be a grower. Excuse the pun. Number eight, the tech behind this project is solid. They've obviously thought about it quite a bit. You can tell from the white paper. The implementation, not there yet, of course, with the blockchain, but you know, you can see their vision and you can sort of understand where they want to go with this. And yeah, it looks solid to me. I also like the fact that they've got the hardware solution as well in terms of monitoring and the actuation of you know, irrigating the plants and everything. The tech's really cool. Number 9, the token use. Again, it actually has a use on this ecosystem. It's not just an afterthought. You're going to be able to use it as a, to buy stuff on the marketplace. It's going to be the currency that buyers and growers will interact with and utilize, and also it will be used to incentivize users of the platform as well as a sort of reward system and reputational system as well. And number 10, I think it's important to point out that this will be cheaper than the existing solutions. If you're looking for a grow system, this will be cheaper, not to mention better, than what's already available out there. So what didn't I like about this project? Well, there's a couple of things. The first one is there's no GitHub code and there's no blockchain implemented yet, and that's a concern because I noticed the information about the blockchain wasn't clear and concise enough in the white paper. It mentions Hyperledger in the website on the roadmap, but doesn't mention it in the white paper. Why not? You've mentioned it there, not in the white paper. White paper, I want to read the white paper and I want some sort of technical information there. Now, it's all fine and well saying the blockchain will do this, the blockchain will do that, but I want to know what technology you're going to implement to do this and do that. And I think that's largely down to the fact they have no blockchain developers on the team yet, and I think the person that wrote the white paper is basically not technically minded enough and is not a developer and can't really write about any of the tech. That's my suspicion, but again, no blockchain devs is another concern. Number 3, this has got a high hard cap, $65 million, and combining that with a high token price of $1, it's hard to see where your returns from an investment in this ICO are going to be. The lower the token price, the bigger the scope for growth, and again, the lower the hard cap, the bigger the scope for growth. I want to go from 1x to 100x, 10 cents to $1's 10x. $1 to $10 is 10x as well, and it's going to be harder to grow from $1 to $10 than it is from 10 cents to $1. Number 5, another negative is this is an ambitious project, and ultimately ambitious projects, more ambitious projects, tend to fail, especially if they're startups with no track record. Another negative, number 6, the hardware solution just adds another level of difficulty to implementation. Again, it's an ambitious project. Adding hardware into the mix, Internet of Things, you're bringing in added complexities. Number 7, I think this still needs to build hype and community support as well. I don't think it's at the stage, it hopefully is by the ICO, but it's not at the stage where it will sell out at the moment. So again, even with a token burn, question marks at the moment over whether to invest or not in this ICO. And another thing I think they made a mistake on here is the minimum $5,000 pre-sale entry point. I think they should have opened it to everybody with a much lower entry point, maybe even $500 or 1 Ethereum. I don't think having that high pre-sale entry point is conducive. You want to get investors. ICOs are suffering from a bit of fatigue at the moment, and I think they should have scrapped that and let people with less investment participate. So let's look at the potential gains now. Well, in an ultra bearish market, I think this would suffer pretty badly. Cannabis coins have not done traditionally well in bearish environments. You can watch my video again that I did yesterday about the other cannabis coins, and they haven't fared very well, especially when the market turns bearish. So I can see this one sinking 50% if it launches in an ultra bearish market. And again, bearish market, same sentiment for me, down 30% at a minimum. In a bullish market, however, I think there's scope for a 2x here. Now, let's be honest, if it sells out 100 million tokens, $65 million market cap, is it going to go to 650 million? Is it going to go to $1 billion? Well, it might further down the road in 5-6 years' time if they're successful in implementation and if it gets widespread use in the cannabis industry. But in a bullish market, if it launches an ICO, I think realistically you're looking at a 2x from this, taking the market cap from say 65 billion up to about 130, 140 million isn't unreasonable. Perma bullish market, again, I can see that $65 million market cap increasing to around $350 million fairly easily. This has the advisory body, has the backing, has the investors to make this project a success. So yeah, it could be a grower, but again, it will depend on the market environment when it hits the exchanges. Now for flipping, not for me for this one. The token price is too high, I think, for flipping, and it being a cannabis coin, I think it's going to take some time before it gets some traction on the exchanges. That's just my personal opinion. For hodling, I think it's the only play here, really. And you know, I see that because I think 2019, if they can implement the blockchain technology and they start to get some farms using this, then you know we could see a rise in the token price then, and that is what's really driving my interest and potential investment in this project. So final verdict time then. What do I think of the Pavocoin ICO? Well, I think 2018 could potentially be the year of the cannabis crypto revolution, and I think this is a solid 3 out of 5 stars ICO. It's got some great features. The technology is fantastic. The advisory body is all-star, but it has a couple of flaws as well, as I noted in the negative section. The blockchain technology is unclear. There's no blockchain developers yet, and also the token metrics are a little bit iffy for me. So I've got a few concerns, but it is a solid project. I suggest it's worthy of looking at in depth and in detail. So the links are in the description below. So go and have a check out of Pavocoin ICO. That's it for me for today. Thanks for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Please, if you like the video, click like, click subscribe, and leaves me time only now for my disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are for entertainment purposes only and should be taken as such. These are not financial advice. If you're going to invest in any ICOs or any cryptocurrency, bear in mind it does pose inherent risk. Always do your own due diligence, always do your own research, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Invest wisely, guys. Invest cautiously as well, and don't listen to YouTubers. Certainly don't make decisions based on what other YouTubers, shillers, influencers, you know who they are. Don't listen to them, all right? Do your own research, make your own decisions. I hope this helps you, but again, any comments, leave in the comment section below. I love to hear from my subscribers. I love to hear from my community. Again, you know, this is a community. We're all in this together. Loving it. See you later on. Off down the pub.